Hello, welcome back to Up the Villa. This is our Europa League preview. Aston Villa v Maccabi Tel Aviv, joined by Earl. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's been a while.
It has been a while, and I thought the main focus on today's show would be picking your brains a little bit about Aston Villa so far, Aston Villa's attack. I think that's probably like one of my biggest concerns so far with Aston Villa this season is that kind of a lack of goals, lack of creativity, different personnel rotating. I don't really feel like we've stumbled across a set rhythm within our team. And I think 10 games in, I did the episode yesterday talking about it. And I think a lot of Villa fans were kind of coming with the same sort of ideas. So I just want to run through some numbers with you, Earl. I know you like your numbers. And then I want to get your opinion on this then. So far this season, we'll start with the assists. And this is across all competitions. Highest is Kamara with 3, which I thought was like, 3, Kamara. Buendia 2, Digne 2, Rogers 2, McGinn 1. Goals, Buendia 3, Cash 2, Marlon 2, McGinn 3, Rogers 1, Watkins 1, Elliott 1, and Gesson 1. Seeing those and hearing those numbers and looking at the names on that list, what jumps out to you?
Well, my first thought is probably not enough. Probably not enough goals, not enough assists, especially in the Premier League. It is probably a bit of a surprise. Kamara is top of the assist league. He usually gets a couple a season, maybe, but it's not his biggest attribute. But yeah, I think if you compare this year to last year, I think the big difference, and it's on everyone's minds, is the lack of contributions from Watkins. To be honest,
Yeah, I think that jumps out a lot. And you can probably no. I don't really want to keep saying this now, but the start of the season was bad. Like I think we got to. I'm going to park that now. I'm not going to keep reiterating that. One thing that I look at, and I think last season was kind of played into this because I think Emery obviously. I saw an interview with him and he was talking about how he's a better coach than he was like a year ago and the year before that. And he wants to always continually be a better coach. And I think one thing you'd have looked at is Aston Villa's goals conceded last season in the Premier League, 51. You know, we conceded 51 goals, which was like the highest in the top 8. I think Brighton finished with the next highest. So I think he's wanted to shore that up a little bit, and we've conceded 10 so far. So I'm just doing basic maths here, but I'd imagine we're on course to get 40 maybe. So that's 11 goals better off than what we were conceding last season. Do you think the personnel is holding Villa attack going forward, or do you think it's a case of we could still be better going forward with different personnel in the team?
yeah, it's a good question. I think it is a bit of personnel, to be honest. I think we see at times the lineup isn't maybe as attacking as what I would like. We've talked about Gesson before. He's maybe not had the attacking impact that we thought he might have had. His defending, that defensive contributions that he's been making. Some of his runs, but it's just kind of the end product hasn't been there. And then at times we've had McGinn out wide as well. Now he, as we just said, he scored 3 goals. He had that hot streak during the season, but that kind of came from central midfield, didn't it? So yeah, I think we have been lacking a bit of creativity, and I think for me it's in those out wide areas.
I think why I've brought this up on today's episode is that kind of like one of my points that I wanted to say, what do I want to see from Villa during this game, is that I want to see us have a little bit more of a attacking output, in the sense of us being able to probably take the handbrake off a little bit. I think Premier League, I look at Premier League and I know how intense it is for Emery. I know how it's his bread and butter. I know how he wants to always do well in the league that gets him Europe. And I actually feel like, and what I hope is that we can kind of try and sometimes use this competition as a way of just not trialing, because I think you don't want to disrespect any opponent, especially in Europe. But, look at the home games and, I think we are probably going to dominate this game. We are going to have all the ball. We are the better team. So let's be braver and pick certain players that can just offer that something a little bit different. And I think maybe through doing that, we'd end up kind of not stumbling across something, but just finding different formulas for maybe variations in the Premier League. I think that's what I'm generally trying to look at. And I look at this game and think, well, we have got creative rotations. We can play different players in certain areas. So I came up with this, Earl, and I want your help, mate. So what I've basically done is I've got sort of like players in each position. So we've got double pivot, we've got right back, we've got left back, and then we've got that attacking line, haven't we? We've got left side, you could move around a few players, right side, down the middle, and then number 10s. And I kind of want to pick your brains a little bit of how do you think we could be a little bit more expansive? Like, what players in that sort of front four do you think could, and the combination that could allow us to possibly play a bit more freely and, not so very, like Gesson on the right. Why is he on the right? He's on the right because he's good defensively, but we need a bit more than that, really, don't we, at times? So what do you think about everything that I've just discussed?
Yeah, like I said before as well, I think those wide areas are probably where I think we need to look at, to be honest. I think, and it's something we were saying during the summer, kind of that right side has been an issue. Like I say, Gesson did some good things and some not so good things, but it is kind of the area I think we're lacking a bit on that right hand side. So, it begs the question of Harvey Elliott, like you've got on the screen there. We know he played on the right for Liverpool. Emery has said he sees him more of a 10. You've got Marlon, who's an option there as well, but I'm not too sure whether he likes playing Marlon out there either. So I think that's probably why Gesson has had as many minutes as he has. Is I don't think he quite fancies any of his other options on that side.
I think when I look at this team, and Emery is very versatile. He will play different players in different positions. I mean, for example, for me, what I think would be a good scenario is if you start not Gesson at right back, but move him off the field a bit. So you've got Elliott sort of out wide on the right? So we know that he wants to drift in there. And that's fine, because Emery loves players that do that. Very rarely, apart from Bailey, if we had a player that's going to get to that byline and put a cross in. So we know he's comfortable with players like that. I actually feel then, say, for example, if you put McGinn off Watkins, McGinn can then drop and you'll get that little bit of a 3 in midfield. Rodgers on the left, Watkins, and there's your Elliott off the striker, and Cash can go slightly further forward. I think that's got quite a good combination that is a little bit more, has got a bit more creativity. I think, like you, I like Gesson with his defensive things, but you got to see more. You got to offer more, and I think that's something that I actually believe that Harvey Elliott can do. I think he's very forward thinking. I think he's played in the Premier League. He's played Champions League. He's played well for England. So that is an option for me. I also kind of feel like the other option, which we tend to sometimes see quite a lot, and put McGinn on the right and just move that there, is, for example, Sancho, and then you get the option with Maatsen. I think that combination for me, if I ever think of those two playing together, I think it's more attacking than, say, Digne playing. And then you start of unlocking that left-hand side. It's a lot more attacking. But again, we know that we'll revert back to, say, Luke Dean wanting to be defensive if we come up against, say, a Liverpool or a Man City, etc. So do you think it's more like just game by game and that's the way we're going to be all season? Or do you think we are still kind of searching for that right formula?
Yeah, I think a bit of both, to be honest. I think it is a very different opposition, that we're coming up against to Liverpool and Man City from the last few games. Like you say, it's going to be probably a bit more of a low block, having a lot more of the ball in their half. So it is a different type of football that you have to play. It's not, we saw against City especially, we looked, quite deadly on the counter attack. How many of those opportunities are we going to get against Tel Aviv? It's going to be a very different kind of game. We're going to have to be, in tight areas, moving the ball quick. So yeah, I think like you said, that link up between Maatsen and Sancho is definitely a thing. It's definitely there, and I think they look like they're on the same page when they play together.
Yeah, and to be honest, I know there's no assists really, or there's no goals from Sancho, but I actually kind of like him. I like him. I'm craving for someone to just get the ball and run at someone. The fact that he picks it up and he does look to go forward at every opportunity. And he's not the quickest, but I think his tight ball control helps him quite a lot. And I think, like you say, we're going to be coming up against a team that are going to sit back. I think that's the only thing that I think is going to happen in this game. I have had a little look at their system, and they do generally attack in a 4-2-4 in their league. They also like their left back to get further forward as well. But I just think this isn't going to be that type of game for them, and it's going to be Villa with all of the ball. And this is what I mean about sort of like the vibe. I just want us to have more open attacking actions, to be more fluid, to be slightly more handbrake off. That's just what I really want to see, because I think goals give confidence, and I think it's important that we start scoring more goals, and that forward line starts to look. It looks like it's purring a little bit, and I don't know whether maybe Marlon needs to start this game, or whether he might start at the weekend and we'll go Watkins Marlon, a little bit like what we did against Burnley. So I think that's going to be interesting in itself, what sort of combination we go with. I'm doing an episode tomorrow, Earl, where I'm going to be talking about a couple of these players and their numbers and who I think I'd like to see play. But I'd actually like to get your thoughts then on who you think might be playing this game, and whether any, like, whether we're going to rotate the back line a little bit. What can we do there? What would you sort of go with for this game? What would be your thinking?
So are we going full team?
Yeah, you go straight through it, mate.
Yeah, fair enough. Probably Bizot in goal.
I'm not giving nothing away, mate. But I'm with you with that, mate. He's straight in goal for me.
Yeah, it seems like he's not played in a while, and he's been very good in the Europa League especially. So I'd throw him in there. Right back, I think, is a difficult one, with Cash being the only recognised right back at the minute. I think I'd still play Cash. Wasn't a massive fan of Lindelof at right back for the whole game.
I was going to say, are you not feeling Lindelof at right back?
Not for the whole game, no. You know, if there's a few minutes left and you're trying to shore up the defense, then maybe, but not from the start. Not for me. And Cash has been excellent this season. I've been
Yeah,
critical of him in the past, so gotta give him a shout out
yeah.
while I'm on.
He deserves it, mate.
Yeah. Conser, I
Yeah.
just have to play Conser, don't you? I think he's one of our best players. I probably don't feel comfortable when he's not playing, to be honest.
Do you worry about a lot of minutes or not?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going after Bournemouth, we're going with England, and then you're thinking that's another one. And when I did that little list earlier, I didn't actually put the centre backs on, but if he's out, we are.
Yeah.
We're cooked. We are cooked. We are
I
air
do
fried.
worry about it, yeah. But it's if I just feel like if we want to win the game, then
Yeah.
Conser has to play.
No, I agree. I
I
think
don't know, maybe Bogard at centre back. I wouldn't hate that, maybe.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
what is Lindelof's position? Is he a centre back?
yeah, I think I think in an ideal world he's probably the right in a back three.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'd say he's a centre back, but doesn't fill me with confidence. He's okay. So yeah, I'd say Conter. I think Bogard would be my second choice.
Yeah.
To be honest. Yeah, Pau Torres.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go with that, aren't you?
Yeah, I think he's shown his class since he's come back into the side. To be honest, Maatsen, as we talked about at left back.
What's your double pivot?
I'm going to go McGinn and Bogard.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
So
I think
McGinn and Bogard. Okay.
yeah, like I said before, it's a different type of game to the Liverpools and Man Cities of the world. So I think we can afford to put McGinn in the pivot. We know he'll do the work, defensive, all this kind of thing, but just an extra attacking minded body in there as well. So I think I'd drop McGinn in there possibly. I'll start on the left.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Sancho.
Okay. I'm
I
liking it.
Yeah, I want to see a bit. I want to see a bit more of him.
Do you rate him? Do you think what you've seen so far? Are you all right with him, or are you thinking, oh God, I'm not sure here?
I think he's not set the world alight, but I think he's looked positive every time he's played. I've not had any issues with him. Like I say, he's not set the world alight, but I think we need to see a bit more of him before we make a judgment. So, I mean, Europa League, you'd think this is a perfect opportunity for him to get some more minutes under his belt, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Who's your next one?
I'm going to go Rodgers in the 10.
Okay, so Rodgers is not sitting out. Rodgers is in then.
Yeah, in from the start. Hopefully, you can give him a rest. If we get a few goals up, that would be nice. But yeah, I just think we need 3 points in this game. Europa League, I think, is important for me personally. Yeah. I think hopefully for the club. So yeah, Rodgers in there. I think he can. He seems to be in form. Hopefully, keep that up, score some goals. Up top, I'm going to go Marlon.
Yeah. Okay.
I think his touch has been a bit better than Watkins for me. Hold up play has been a bit better, and I think he needs some minutes. So I'll put Marlon in there, and I've left the right until last because I'm not sure.
Well, I hope you're gonna say one player. If not, I'm worried. I'm very worried.
So I would say Harvey Elliott
Yeah.
on the right, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure
Okay. I'm
whether
going to
we'll
ask you a
actually see
question
that.
then. All right. I'm going to ask you a question. If Harvey Elliott doesn't play, surely that means we're not signing him.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement. I think I think the clause is something he has to play 10 games or something, and then it's a permanent signing. 10 appearances, I think it is. How many has he made now? Is it
6,
five? I
I
want
think.
to say 5 or 6.
Mhm.
So I mean, getting to that point where a decision has to be made. Really, I think with Buendia, picking up an injury, if he's still not breaking into the side, then yeah, it's looking likely that he will go back if that is possible. I would like to see him play. I was
Mhm.
quite excited when we signed him off the back of his Euros campaign with England. I was really impressed with that, but yeah, it's manager's decision, and I'm not
Mm.
quite sure what's going on there.
Yeah, I think it's one of them, isn't it? I think as football fans, we're okay to question things. And obviously, Unai, yeah, I mean, he knows best, right? So he knows best. He knows what he wants and etc. I actually feel like Elliot could give the crowd a bit of a lift in the sense of being able to get behind Elliot. I think, the journey so far has been a little bit sort of up, down, nothing. And then I think sort of like that little underdog sort of coming back. Come on, let's show us what you can do. Give us a lift, different variations, different looks, etc. I really like Harvey Elliott, and I haven't seen him do anything ever to suggest that he's a bad footballer. So for me, I would like to see him perform and play well. There's just this little thing in the back of my head that's sort of there that's going. We've got an outlay of 30 something million pounds for a player, right? Which in Villa's terms is actually quite a lot of money when you're looking at probably financials of SCR, etc. And I just keep coming back to that. And this is why I'm sort of looking at this game thinking, if he doesn't play here, where is he playing? This is a game where we're going to have all of the ball. We're going to be super dominant. So this is a chance for it to have a look at actually what he's like in a really perfect scenario, because he's going to have more freedom. He's probably going to be able to get a lot of touches. This is a big test to see what he can do in a Villa shirt. And I actually hope that for whatever he's been learning with Emery behind the scenes, that he's able to bring it and we're able to kind of just see what's been going on sort of behind the scenes. Because you hear Emery talk about things like, oh, he's not quite getting the system, etc. Well, he's not just training, running round. He's got to be like training and understanding how we're working and what he actually wants. So for me, I would like to see this. I'm not sort of thinking that Gesson's finished, etc. I think he's got to offer a lot more going forward, like I've mentioned earlier. So for me, I really want to see Elliot. I don't know whether you want to add anything on that.
No, I 100% agree. I think this is the type of game where we need to see him, where it is kind of that, like we say, we think it's going to probably be a bit more of a low block. We're going to have them penned in, is what I anticipate. So kind of having Elliot in those tight areas, someone who's looking to play those passes into the box. We've talked about a bit of a lack of creativity. Well, that's why I would pick Elliot and Sancho in this kind of game. From the front four, I would typically want two kind of creators, and two who are going to get your shots off. So you've got your Elliott and Sancho and Rodgers who can do a bit of both, and then Marlon hopefully. So I think it's got a kind of a good balance for this game, and yeah, I think Elliott, fingers crossed, is starting on the right, and he has a good performance for us.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the vibe that most people get from watching it is creativity has been somewhat lacking, and we spoke about it at the start. Our top assist is a deep line central midfielder. Next up, we've got Buendia. Next up, we've got a left back that offers width on the left. Then you've got Rodgers, and then you've got McGuinness, central midfielder. Goals, Buendia, a right back, a striker that comes off the bench a lot. McGuinness, central midfielder with 3 goals. Then you've got Rodgers, Watkins, 1 goals apiece, and then wide players in Gesson and Elliott on 1. And then you're thinking, well, Elliott only played 1 game in the Carabao Cup, and Gesson's played how many games, and he's only got 1 goal, and he's got the same amount of goals combined in all competitions as Watkins and Rodgers. So I think that's where I'm thinking generally with the system, the team, how it's looking, different variations, etc. So my final point, Earl, is kind of a big one. It's something that I'd like to see in this competition is maybe like a little bit of youth integrated into getting some minutes. I think it's a great opportunity to have a little look. You know, we know how Emery's very meticulous in what he wants. So if any of them are to get a start, then that would mean high praise from them. But I'm looking at Broggio on the bench against Liverpool. Now, I mean, you're not on the bench if you're kind of not going to be used. Otherwise, you'd have put probably another goalkeeper on there. So I think that's high praise for him. And then against Leyton Orient in the last game, we had Hemmings, Jimo Aloba, Rory Wilson, Burrows, and TJ Carroll. And those are probably like the 5 or 6 that I've sort of really got my eye on. Do you feel like any of these could possibly be in the squad against Maccabi Tel Aviv?
Yeah, I can definitely see a few of them being in the squad. I'm big on all of those names that you just mentioned. Really, you're impressed with them in pre-season as well. Yeah, I don't think we'll see any of them from the start. But yeah, I mean, if we get up a few goals, I think we could see some appearances. Yeah, that's why I think some of these Europa League games are quite big. We can get the points on the board. Get the wins under our belt, get that top 8, secured and high up in that league. Once we've got some of those games later, in the league phase, I would like to see a lot more of the the youth players come in. We saw it even in the Champions League last season with the the emergence of Bogard. Where would he be at the same place he is right now? Where I think most fans will completely trust him when he's put in the game. You don't get to that point unless you show that trust in the youth players. So yeah, I mean the talk coming out of the club is good. With Olabe coming in, who's had a good record with youth players at Real Sociedad. So yeah, I think it's positive, and hopefully we see more and more of these guys.
Yeah, definitely. I think top 8 is very important. Top 2 kind of gives you, I don't know, saying an advantage because you get your second legs at home, don't you? But to be honest, I don't even care about that because I think it's totally irrelevant because we went to go ahead Eagles and lost. So, every game's difficult, whatever pattern they're in. So I think just top 8 it. And if it means we can see some of these come through, then that's all that matters to me, really. I think it would be really nice to see someone just come through and be that next player, really. So we've got like an abundance of talent. So I believe it's there, but we've just got to hope that it comes out into fruition, really. So anyway, it's been great having you back on. It's been great getting your insight on Aston Villa. It's been a while, but I'll try and get Earl back on in the international break, and yeah, we can have a discussion about Villa and where we're at, etc. So, cheers for coming on, mate. Up the Villa.